the premier sports talk radio, it's Tony's Takes.
Here we go.
Welcome back to another great episode of Tony's Takes live right here on YouTube for the best show in sports talk radio. It is Tony's Takes, and of course I'm not alone in the studio. Sitting next to me is my co-host, newly married Jimmy D. Jim Jam, hello.
What's up?
That's all I get. That's right, it's official. Jimmy's married. Well, first of all, congratulations, Jim. We are very proud of you.
Thanks, Tony, and thanks for attending the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
I was happy to have you there.
The food was good. I enjoyed my European chicken.
Did you?
Yeah, it was moist.
Oh.
I love when they serve chicken. Like if you get a chicken breast, they include the bones. Like it prevents it from drying out. I'm a big believer.
Oh yeah,
big
definitely.
Believer.
Yeah, and that's one criticism my father-in-law didn't necessarily like was the bone in.
You can make a little necklace afterwards.
But we enjoyed that when we went to our tasting. So
I liked it. I thought it makes once again having it on the bone makes it less dry. Yeah. I'm a big believer in that. And then the prime rib was great. Agreed. I tried a little bit of.
Oh, my prime rib.
I snuck a little prime rib in there too. It was over on McPherson's plate. Cut a piece open.
Yeah, because you know he normally eats chicken fingers and French fries.
I know. I said, I asked him, "Are you ordering off the kids menu?" He said, "No, I'm getting the steak." I'm like, "Okay, bud." Welcome all to Tony's Takes, a lovely episode. We were off last week because Jim was getting ready for the wedding. And I had the interview with HawkHillHardwood for the A10 Talk podcast. So it all kind of worked out. And if you didn't see that episode on the A10 Talk podcast, go check it out. I thought it was a really great preview of St. Joe's basketball. Maybe Jimmy can do some research and try to throw that in the chat for some of the viewers if they've missed it. But it was an excellent interview. Recommend checking it out. Matt Gifford is excellent. He is so knowledgeable, more knowledgeable than I have the humility to say it. I just, write about analysis and opinion. He is on the ground. He is in the gym, getting the scoops, getting the leads, putting together the recruiting board. He's just an excellent source of St. Joe's knowledge, and I just got to do that big plug at the beginning of the show. A lot has happened, though, in sports in Philadelphia, and we're going to talk about St. Joe's. We actually have a question, our first question in a very long time from Pete about St. Joe's, and we're going to get to that. We're going to start, though, with two sports teams right off the top of my head, and me and Jim had written this out prior to the show, and that is, first we'll talk about Ben Simmons and the Sixers starting their season today. It's a basketball theme. Then we're going to go into St. Joe's basketball, and then we're going to go to the Eagles, Jim. How's that sound?
Sounds great to me.
Excellent. So I'm going to flash something on the screen for everyone to see. I'm going to transition the screen. This is from the lovely Howard Eskin, okay? For those who do not know who Howard Eskin is, legendary broadcaster in Philadelphia. You see him on the sideline during Eagles games. He's been a sideline reporter for WIP for many years. He broadcasts live during the game. He finds his way onto Fox, broadcasts CBS. You'll just see him walking around. And his son, Spike, does the very successful Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. So, I mean, it's a family of Philadelphia sports, that's for sure. Love him, hate him. Howard Eskin is one of the go-to guys. And I just thought this was funny because I was looking on Twitter and it goes, Ben Simmons put his South Jersey home in Morristown, which is a town kind of close to Jim and I, back up for sale again on Tuesday night. Price tag $5 million. So, Jim, I know you just got married. You're going to fill that big $5 million house. I think you can put a bid down.
Of course.
Many children.
Put a big family in there, of course.
And so happens, I don't know why Howard typed it like this, but he goes, so happens Day was thrown out of practice by the Sixers by Doc Rivers. Question, how long do you think he stares at the picture of himself on the blow-up wall? There's literally a whole photo of just himself. It's like, I would never, if I lived by myself, I would never just put photos of myself on the wall.
Yeah, that is just self-flagellation.
I do say in my office, it's really my room, I have one photo of me for running at St. Joe's, the free one they gave to us.
Sure, it was a gift.
That was a gift from graduating college. I'm not a professional athlete. It's a little bit of a difference, I think, than putting up that down the hallway and then not. That's almost like a move where you put it there because you think the house is going to sell because you're really showing off that it was Ben Simmons' house.
Of course, yeah. This is just too much. It's just stroking the ego so much.
And it goes to this point. Ben Simmons, who we all know and love, was finally kicked out of practice. And I'm sure all the fans of Tony's Takes know that already. And we've been talking about this for a very long time. Ben Simmons, he's got to show up. He's got to show up. He's not being a true man in the sense of he's not honoring his responsibilities, his duties. Yes, we all have jobs that we don't like. And if we want to move, we do our best. Like, I just changed jobs. I did my best to help my former employer out before I switched my job. I helped them set up. I made sure that they had success. No ill will. That's how normal people operate. Most normal people operate in today's society. You're leaving your job, you help them out. You give a 2 weeks notice. You don't just leave and not show up the next day. You give your 2 weeks notice. You make sure your team or your management is set up to succeed and find a replacement or train the replacement. So for everyone who goes, oh, you could just leave your job, anyone with 2 brain cells who can rub them together and spark a thought knows that if they were working at a job, they would do their best to not burn bridges, to be friends with or friendly with everyone, to do what is, yes, best for them, but also helps the company, and you're not leaving coworkers high and dry. And Ben Simmons has done the opposite. He has left, and this is the more important part, he's left coworkers high and dry. How can Danny Green go? All because he's afraid to face the fans. He burned the bridge with Joel Embiid because he didn't want to face the fans of Philadelphia. How is he supposed to show up, practice with the team? And it was the reason why he got suspended was because Jimmy, you see the pants I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing just like sweatpants. Mm-hmm. These are the pants he was wearing. Puts his phone. I got my phone in my pocket. I'm as dressed for a Sixers practice as Ben Simmons was.
You just got to tuck the pants in.
I just got to tuck my pants. I just got to take my shirt off and play with my shirt on. Or take my sweatshirt off and play with a shirt on, a t-shirt. It is absolutely outrageous that he thought he could get away with that. The Sixers have every right to suspend him, as they should. I'm tired of seeing NBA teams fold and collapse like a cheap suit, like the one I wore at Jimmy's wedding. And,
it was a very nice suit.
Oh, Jimmy, don't flatter me. Fold like a cheap suit. Not show up for your teammates, not play hard, and fold under pressure. It's just, Jimmy, go ahead. I'm losing it. And this isn't even angry Tony. This is like disgusted Tony.
So the question really is, and I don't really think it comes down to the fans, but did the fans do this to Ben Simmons, or did the Sixers do this to Ben Simmons, or did Ben Simmons do this to Ben Simmons?
It's Ben Simmons did this to Ben Simmons.
Okay, I think part of this. It does come to the Sixers. The Sixers do have a stake in the downfall of Ben Simmons. You know, they let him...
Oh, well, yes, I know where you're going, but yes.
They let him carry on with certain things that should not have been... wouldn't have carried on in other organizations, not in winning organizations. Like, for instance, his brother being his trainer, for shooting. It doesn't make any sense why the Sixers could have let that go on. And they've treated him like... he is a prima donna. They've treated him like he deserves the world. They've given him the contract that he wanted, an insane amount of money for somebody that doesn't shoot the ball, right? Who has obviously pitfalls in this game, but he has extreme talent in other areas of the game. But it was a risk that the Sixers took to put on him, and it was more of an encouragement move for him to become the best player that he could be. So the Sixers have sort of enabled him to kind of go down this road and become sort of this baby, he just wants the money now at this point. Whereas, as kids, when we play games and we start to think that we can take it to the next level, we enjoy the game. There's a passion behind it. When I watch this guy and he comes to practice with his cell phone in the pocket and he's getting kicked out because he has
the cell phone in the pocket is just egregious. It is so bad.
The disorderly conduct, that gets him suspended. I find that that this isn't somebody that has a passion for the game necessarily anymore. And I remember when we first drafted him, he said, "I want to be the greatest player to ever play basketball." I would remember him saying that after game after game after game. And I don't think that this is the same guy that thinks that way anymore. I don't think that, after so many years being in the league, there's no way that he could be the best player that ever lived. No way. And I think he believes that now, and I think that he only cares about cashing a check.
Yeah, and Frank goes, I hate to say it, all parties led to this debacle. And I think this kind of points to your situation, Jim, or what you were saying. Yeah, of course everyone's got a hand in this. The one that you said that I just don't think they have any hand in it is the fans. The fans they are blameless. They cheered this guy on. How many times were we in that stadium? They cheered this guy on. Shoot a three, just do it, please. But they never really yelled at him. It was when he didn't dunk, the one thing he can do.
Yeah.
When he didn't dunk when the game mattered, he showed who he really was. And the fans flipped. But don't blame, the only people who are blameless, and I will stand by it, are the fans because there's nothing they can do. They are the helpless party. They are expected to pay money, what you did at one point, pay money to have season tickets, and that's what you do for them. You show up in the Ferrari that they just bought you, and that's how you play.
And that's what I think, I think back to, I was a season ticket holder. Before I had 10 game packs, I went up to the full season and everything, and then COVID hit or whatever. But I vividly remember going to a preseason game or even a regular season game where Ben Simmons shoots a 3-pointer and makes it, and the crowd goes nuts.
You think they won the championship?
Yeah, there was so much encouragement for him, and I agree with you. I don't think that there's too much about the fans. What I think is maybe Ben Simmons listens to sports radio a little bit too much. Like, if you want to hear anybody that picks apart anything, it's on our WIP or 97.5, and I don't think it's any different than the same amount of nitpicking that happens for every team. Carson Wentz didn't get a free pass the year after they won the Super Bowl. People were picking Carson Wentz apart. So, yes, we try to hold people accountable, but guess what? We didn't do anything different to Ben Simmons than everybody else. He had equal fair treatment. There was two sides. There were two teams, right? The Ben Simmons could be a great player if he just shoots the ball a little bit, and the Ben Simmons is a bum no matter what because he's never going to shoot the ball. But you know what? That's no different than any other controversy that's ever been in Philadelphia. There's always two sides. And I don't think that it was that major that it should have affected his game.
Frank goes, fans had his back till the, quote, pass. The pass that lives in infamy.
Yeah.
Not league pass, not red zone pass. The Ben
pass.
Simmons, the pass.
Yeah.
Jim, do you think they win tonight? We didn't even talk about the rest of the team, but there's another quote from Joel Embiid. And he goes off saying that I can't babysit. Pretty much he just says, I can't babysit him.
Yeah, and he said, I don't care about that man.
Yeah. And that was the point I was getting to. It's like you've burned your bridges with your coworkers now.
Yeah.
Guys in the NBA don't do that often.
But I'll even say 3 days ago people had his back. Tobias Harris says, yeah, things are a little weird, but we'll get together, we'll bond together, and we'll work together and make things right. And then all of a sudden this stuff happens, and it's like, well, how much can the teammates really back him up for anymore? How can Danny Green tell the fans that we need to relax about getting on Ben Simmons? Because this is ridiculous. There never has been fans like that. So yeah, I agree. We don't need to babysit with with what Joel said, and to think about this game tonight, we got the Pelicans right. The problem is we're much smaller now than we've ever been, which worries me a little bit. Like Ingram's on the Pelicans,
like losing
who's
Dwight,
gonna guard him,
right? And losing Dwight Howard last year is gonna be a bigger issue for us than we realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can we expect Joel to play center like that?
Well, how about Andre Drummond coming in?
Still questionable.
See, I've never been an Andre Drummond fan.
Yeah, and
I've
get
always
that.
been a huge critic of him.
I think he'll be okay off the bench, but I think I'd rather have Dwight Howard.
Yeah, I do too.
But there's no going. I mean, there's literally no going. But we have nothing to do about that. And he probably got out of town because of the Ben Simmons nonsense. Why would I want to deal with this? I go play with LeBron.
I think that it's going to be a much closer game. I think that the Sixers obviously aren't going to be a 1 seed this year if this happens. If we don't get anything back for Ben Simmons, or if we get something very small, a role player rather than another star, I think that we're looking at the Sixers being like a 4 or 5, maybe a 6 if things go really, really bad. But I think that the Sixers will win tonight, but I think it'll be very close. I think it's going to be like a 5-point win.
There is no question that they are still a playoff team now. They're
No
still
doubt.
a playoff team.
No doubt. Playoff team.
Maybe Joel Embiid wins the MVP.
He could. It would be a heck of a storyline. They love storylines.
Now, yeah, I'm not saying they're going to win the championship. I'm just saying that he just plays even harder, and there's no reason to think that he wouldn't do that. Okay, Jem, let's move on. You're picking them to win tonight.
One question though about the Sixers. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Are the Sixers better with Ben Simmons or without Ben Simmons?
They are better without him.
Wow.
If they get a traditional point guard out of this, whoever it is, I don't know who they could trade for at this point. I'm not saying they're a star, but there are so many point guards in this league that I think you put, name an average point guard. I'm trying to think one. I'm sure an old Derrick Rose would look fantastic next to Joel Embiid. Not a doubt in my mind.
We would be better?
I don't know if we'd be 100% better, but I think we'd be comparable just because of the fact that the pieces fit together much better.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Rose can actually finish at the rim. I don't know. It's an offensive league. You can really beat teams if you just score more than them. They don't play defense till the playoffs. So you could actually accrue a pretty high record, but then get, sent out of the playoffs quickly.
That actually wouldn't be too bad. Derrick Rose, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, Seth Curry.
It's not that bad.
Joel Embiid.
Derrick Rose can attack. Tobias has way more room to operate as the power forward. The defense just gets worse.
Yeah.
And then the problem with that is you're banging Joel around a lot now because he's got to play all Seth Curry is not playing great defense in the way of he's not going to be able to stop someone in the playoffs.
Right.
He can't stop Devin Booker in the playoffs. Derrick Rose cannot stop Devin Booker in the playoffs. Ben Simmons can. So that's what you're trading away. But guess what? We haven't gone to anything with Ben Simmons, so why are we even talking about we got to play the Suns in the finals?
Yeah. Right.
We haven't been to the finals, so why are we even talking about it?
Yeah.
That's my problem. It doesn't work. It clearly hasn't worked. It's okay. We'll move on, and we can find players to make us better. Just draft better. Don't make excuses for your poor drafting. Let's go to the Hawks. We're making Pete wait long enough. He emailed me today. We're talking about St. Joe's basketball. Jim, did you ever find... first of all, if you're here for the first time, please make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. The second thing is the chat is open, so if you have a question or a take and you'd like me or Jim to read it on the show, type it in the chat. And that's if you're watching us live on YouTube. If you're not watching us live on YouTube, you're probably listening to the Apple Podcast version. If that's the case, leave a 5-star review. All 5-star reviews that also include a written review are read on the show. If you just leave a 5-star review and write no comment, there's nothing for me to read. So you got to write a comment and leave the review. But we'll read it. Okay, this comes from Pete. And the question is, I don't have my drum roll button up, so it's whatever. Question. Okay, Jim, you can stop. The mic is, the people probably think we're having an earthquake in the studio.
Ooh, sorry.
No worries. Question for the episode later. If you guys are taking St. Joe's Hoops questions, Pete, we always are. The added bigs in Eduque, I learned how to say his name, Obina and Charles Coleman, add the chance for quick tip outs to the perimeter and a chance for Lang to get up a flurry of threes with a new shot clock. Do you think, with Obina and Coleman's length, that this is a part of the strategy for 21 and 22? Will the Hawks have more or less three-point attempts this season than last year? Will those three-point attempts also come very early in the possession? I think that's the biggest question that you could have asked out of all of those options, is when the three comes, because that matters more than you think. Jim, do you want to take an answer at this, or do you want to leave it to the expert, the resident expert?
We'll leave it to the resident expert.
Okay, Pete, it is a great question, and I talked about this with Matt Gifford. And I think the first part, so let's answer it each piece by piece. The added bigs of Obina and Charles add the chance for quick tips out of the perimeter and for a flurry of shot. Totally agree. I think the addition of Obina and Coleman, if we go with the lineup that John Rothstein had said of Eric Reynolds, who's a freshman, Jordan Hall, Taylor Funk at the 3, Coleman, Obina, if that is the case, which I doubt a little bit, I really see it being... Actually, let's answer it, because with Charles, Coleman, and Obina on the floor, we're going to rebound every ball. Because if they tip it out, Jordan Hall and Taylor Funk are 6'8", 6'7", respectively. We're going to get rebounds if that's the case. You don't even need to tip them out. You could just grab them or have Hall come in as a third person and grab them. It's just that's very obvious to me, I think. I think the bigger question is Obina, Funk at the 4, Forrest at the 3, Hall at 2, Reynolds at the 1. I think that's honestly the best lineup Billy Lang could go with. Does that group get rebounds? Yes, that group gets rebounds. Why? Obina can block out. Funk can block out and be the second guy. And I think the key to rebounding on this team is going to be Jordan Hall. Think about it. When Jordan Hall gets a rebound, he doesn't have to pass it to anyone. He is the point guard. He can just start charging up the floor. You don't have to find the point guard. You don't have to have a point guard like Steph Curry, like we'll use an NBA example. Steph Curry waiting for that long 3 for him to grab and then control the break. You've got the guy who can run the fast break with the ball in his hand immediately after he gets the rebound because he's just that big. So that's answers your first part. Second part, do you think with Obina and Coleman, the length that is a part of the strategy? So yes, I answered that. Will the Hawks have more or less three-point attempts this season than last? I think they have less three-point attempts this season. Why? Eric Reynolds is a pretty shifty guy. I don't really think he's that much of a three-point shooter in regards to a flurry of threes. Jordan Hall can shoot the 3, but he should be shooting about 2 to 3. He should be making about 2 to 3 a game, shooting 4 to 5 a game. So 4 to 5 attempts. Funk should probably have around 5 to 6 attempts. He's a better three-point shooter. Forrest, 5 attempts. I really think, especially with the starting lineup, with Coleman and Obina, they're going to be attacking the rim a lot more. Jordan Hall's going to be attacking. 2 guys are on Jordan Hall. He is finally a player large enough, throw a quick alley-oop. Obina's open on the low block with no one guarding him, or he kicks it out to... Then that's a dunk. After they play that a couple times, all of a sudden Forrest and Funk on the corners start becoming way more open. Maybe we see more threes there.
Mm-hmm. I actually agree with this take.
I think what's going to happen is maybe they shoot the same amount of threes in a game, or maybe they shoot 5 shots less. But what happens is at the beginning of the game, we're attacking the rim a lot. Reynolds, Hall, getting picks from Obina, attacking the rim, attacking the rim, attacking the rim. Guys are starting to close in because Obina's there with a pick and roll. Obina's there for a layup when Jordan Hall goes or Eric Reynolds goes. Taylor Funk can drive and do a backdoor cut. He's athletic enough to do that. All of a sudden, they're crowding the paint. Jordan Hall goes in for a pick. It gets a pick from Obina, goes into the lane. Forrest is open. Funk is open. Forrest is open again. Hey, let's throw in Cameron Brown over Reynolds just to get another shooter on the court. Okay, now we got 4 shooters on the court. Or 3 shooters on the court. Oh, they're going to stay spread out now? They're going to go big? They're going to stay spread out? Oh, Jordan Hall can pull up from 3 then. Oh, well, now you got to come and greet Jordan Hall. Now he can go by you again, attack the rim now that you have to pull out because he shot a successful 3 because we know that he can actually shoot 40% this year if he's consistent. I know everyone's questioning Billy Lang. I'm a guy in my basement, and I just made that sound really good. Who in the conference... The question is, I guess, does Obina meet expectations? If he plays like he did, scoring 4 to 6 points a game, I think the Hawks are actually pretty decent. I think Obina needs to score 6 to 8 points. The SEC is different than the A-10. There's not as many big players. That is just like a simple fact of the game. Even when we saw Villanova play St. Joe's and then Tennessee play St. Joe's, Villanova's a higher-ranked team. They are much smaller than Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So call me crazy for being excited about this team. And Pete, I think this is a great question. I think rebounds are going to lead to fast breaks, are going to lead to open scoring and possibly a flurry of threes. I think having big guys on the court is going to help open up the wing positions and have Forrest and Funk shooting more threes because Obina makes it easier to clear space for Hall, makes it easier for Hall to dish the ball to someone in the paint who can finish in traffic, who's just really good at dunking, and that happens to be for both Coleman and Obina. And I think I answered your final, and honestly, my question answers your final part, or my answer is for your final question. Do the 3 points come early or later in the possession? I think I just proved with the strategy that if we can attack the rim early, get easier looks, it's a younger team, get easier looks, all of a sudden, we're working the offense a little bit, and those three-point attempts are becoming later in the process of the play because we can score on the fast break, but I think when we have a fast break, we should be going for the easy two. There's no one back on defense. Take advantage of their lack of defense. Go for the two. And then in the half court, they're going to have to protect the rim because they've been giving up free points at the rim from fast breaks and these rebounds. You're opening up the three for later in the game. You can shoot a lot of threes. Be smart about it. Think modified Princeton. It's tactical, smart three-point shooting. Billy Lang's not running a technical Princeton, but we can work the shot clock well enough to either find an easy basket with the players I just named or find a three-point shot if Jordan Hall and Obina can find some chemistry.
I think you nailed this here, especially with the breakdown. I definitely think that there's going to be less 3-point attempts, but I can also see I could see a team that throws up more threes. I don't know, but just because the rebounding and everything, they slap the ball out. I could see that just leading to more threes being shot. And I know that in the past, you and I have talked about how trigger happy they can be from the 3-point line under Billy Lang's coaching. So, with that tutelage, it might just be more threes that get thrown up. But I think I'm with you. I think there'll be less threes. You get the bigs down there. It seems like you can work the inside game a little bit more, and not rely as far on the perimeter shooting as well. So that's a good analysis, definitely.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, Jim. Appreciate the question. Always welcome. Real quick, Bob Huggins of West Virginia tweeted out, or the story was tweeted out, saying, West Virginia coach Bob Huggins says major conferences should create their own college basketball postseason event, a.k.a. their own tournament. I'm not going to go long into this. I'm just going to say this. Many years ago, when it was Rory next to me and not Jimmy, we had the illustrious Joe Lunardi. Joe Lunardi warned that this would happen. The man was right. It's happening. Will it happen? I don't know. But are people starting to float it out? They sure are. And so I think it's worth noting and keeping your eye on if Power 5... I feel Huggins is probably just a little hurt that his Big 12 was kind of left in the dust. It's funny. Look at how it affects college basketball. Texas and Oklahoma leave the Big 12.
Yeah.
Big 12 backfills with Cincinnati, USF, and I forget who the other one was. Now Temple's looking around like, should we join the A-10? So Oklahoma and Texas leaving for the SEC could result in Temple being like independent in football or being aligned with Conference USA for football and then being aligned with the Atlantic 10 for basketball.
Yeah, we talked about this probably 2 months ago on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had ramifications.
It's dangerous. It's definitely dangerous.
I welcome Temple. Would love to have him in. Okay, Jim, let's go to the Eagles. I just want to say this. Tony, 6-4. Jim, 4-6.
Brutal.
He's falling apart.
In
front of my eyes. Now, Tony got the big break from TB12 when TB12 decided to kneel the ball at the 2-yard line. Eagles cover the spread and the under by a point. Jimmy devastated before the wedding. Jimmy was at the game.
All that needed to happen.
A quarter late into the game.
Quarter late. All that needed to happen was the Eagles stop them on defense and the Eagles score. That's all that needed to happen. I would have been 2-0, but of course, we decide to be our own worst enemy.
The penalties are out of control. I'm glad I got the bet right, but the penalties are out of control.
I gotta say that was not a taunting call though.
But why even risk it?
I know. Don't
Why
even go up in his
risk
face.
it?
Just go back to the line and play the damn game.
If we're arguing, was that a taunting call? Then you were talking to him too much. Get back.
It's really bad.
Get back. Yeah, it's bad. It's ugly. Not ugly in the sense that like taunting is bad. It's ugly in the sense that you're costing your team the game. Why even put yourself in that? I get a holding happened because you're playing. It's late in the game. You shouldn't make those penalties, but it happened.
Sure.
You have every control over taunting calls.
And
you could prevent those.
And we didn't play football until the last quarter.
We finally ran the ball. Sanders breaking off 15-yard runs left and right.
Yeah, it's This team, it can just be so frustrating. And, we've seen a lot of football in our day. This is just a completely different year. This is like the antithesis of Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was like lightning in a bottle his first year. This guy is a dud. This guy is horrible. I have never been so bored watching football games than when the Eagles are playing this year. It's been so bad.
Gonna disagree a little bit. I still think the team is a little more exciting than it was under Doug Peterson last year. But I agree. We can't just keep watching them throw the... I don't know. Maybe the Eagles are cursed to unexciting... Ever since the Super Bowl, we have had unexciting football.
It's been so vanilla.
we never throw the 60-yard bomb. We never have the 55-yard run.
I guess my difference between Doug and now is at least Doug, his first couple of years, you could see where the Eagles were going. This guy, it's his first year, and it's absolutely not good football to me. We actually do have that big play every once a game, but that's it. We get that one play where we try and get the pass interference or something, and we get 60 yards down the field or something. But it has been atrocious. Like the first 3 quarters of that game that I went to against the Bucs was really difficult to watch. I was wondering what the heck we were doing. Like, do we even know that we're down 3 touchdowns? Do we even want to play? Does the defense want to play? It's been hard for me to enjoy this season, even in the slightest. Even with 2 wins, we beat the Falcons and we beat the Panthers, and it's like, golly, we've had chances to beat the 49ers. I think we could have beat the Chiefs.
Jimmy, once we lost to the 49ers, I said that was a tidal wave of the game. Jim, I hate to interrupt, but we have a mutiny in the chat going on.
Oh, I see.
First of all, Meg, welcome to the show. You missed the beginning. Can we make fun of Ben Simmons, please? You missed the whole 15 minutes of Ben Simmons being made fun of. They got you tied up at work too much. Evan Guerin goes, hey, Meg, I second that request. And Meg goes, yo, Evan, what's good? Give the people what they want. Jimmy, who makes you more disgusted? Sirianni, who you think is a puppet, or Ben Simmons, who I think is a puppet as well?
Ben Simmons definitely, hands down, most frustrating because we've put so much stock into Ben Simmons over the years. And I know that's a bad thing to do when you're investing, right? It's just to think about how much something was worth when you first invested in it. But this is hard, really, really hard not to. It's really, really hard not to be so frustrated with Ben Simmons. Now, Nick Sirianni, I'm still willing to give him a chance. And with my predictions, I think you'll see that I'm still not out on the Eagles. So, I think with Ben Simmons, it's much more frustrating. I've basically given up on Ben Simmons, and that's why he's just a big baby, and I can't deal with that. Just like Joel Embiid said, we don't need a babysitter here.
Evan Guerin goes, I was watching Jeopardy. Meg goes, I was chained to my desk. Evan, this player was caught being called a baby by Joel Embiid, who is Ben Simmons. There we go, Jeopardy style. Jimmy's taking off his ring now. Jimmy, speaking of chained to the desk, Jimmy, are you feeling a little chained with that ring on your finger?
I almost got it stuck on the wrong finger.
Uh-oh.
Got it off, though.
Okay, let's go into the picks. I'll give Meg a quick synopsis since she's listening. She's a loyal listener. And who cares what the form of the show is? I said this, Meg, and you could relate to it. Ben Simmons, when you leave your job, you don't go flip off your manager, steal from people's desks, throw bottles around because you want to leave and you go and get yourself fired. What do? You interview for your next job. You tell your manager, hey, I'm going to leave in 2 weeks. Really enjoyed working for you. Hey, is there anything I can do? You go and you train the new person that may be replacing you, or you interview the person that's going to be replacing you. You help set up both yourself for what is good and the team or former employer you had for success. Because in this world, you never know who you're going to work for. And sometimes throwing a temper tantrum is an immature and wrong thing to do. I know they like to say the sports people love to go and look down at us from their ivory tower and go, you regular people, you just get to quit whenever you want. As if we're all quitting our jobs left and right to go back on the government dole. No, me and Jim have to show up at work every day. We don't just get to quit because something doesn't go our way. I've been berated at work worse than whatever Ben Simmons could ever get. And he knows it's not that big of a deal because when the fans don't like you, it doesn't mean you're actually getting fired from your job. But instead, he went and pissed off the one person who could fire him from his job, Daryl Morey.
Who's a coward and won't do it.
And
won't pull the trigger.
No, but he is standing firm. I'm tired of these NBA teams letting players run roughshod. You have 4 years on this guy. Everyone's in your corner. They're all talking about Kyrie for other reasons right now. Then they're talking about Ben Simmons. You have all the power. Ben Simmons has very little eyes on him. You have more bargaining power than you realize. Stand firm. Let's go to the picks. Jim, you were 1-1 last week.
And you were 2-0.
2-0.
Yep.
The line, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, our official, unofficial sponsor, is +3 for Philadelphia. So that means Vegas is favored, but Philly's the road team, so that's
even.
Even
Pick.
And the spread is, I just said the spread. I'm sorry. The over-under is 49. Solid points.
Here's my picks.
In Vegas. In Vegas.
Here's my picks, and I'll give you why.
Okay.
Birds +3. I'm going to take the Eagles +3, and because I think they're going to outright win the game. So, total, I'm going to say under 49, and here's why. I think the Eagles are going to put it together. I think they're going to start running the ball again, and I don't know why. I think that Miles Sanders is going to get a lot of touches. You know, they talked about it. I don't know why it took them 5 days to figure out that they should probably hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, but in the press conferences this week, you know, their offensive coordinator talked about, like, oh, maybe we should get the ball to Miles Sanders a little bit more. Yeah, or Gainwell. I don't care. Just get the back of ball and let him run. Like, we need to take the clock down. We need time of possession. Time of possession in the end of the first quarter, or the first half at the Bucs-Eagles was like 20 minutes to 10. It was really, really bad. So I think that this is where the Eagles turn it around a little bit. I don't think the offense is going to be too great because I don't think that it's necessarily a good team, really. I think the play calls are typically bad. But if we run the ball and we try to go away a little bit from the screens every play, I think the Eagles could win this game 22-15.
So you're taking the Philadelphia Eagles and you're taking the under. Jim? This is a hard pick because the Raiders are, to say they're in turmoil would be an understatement, but they won the last game. However, I think the Eagles play better on the road than they do at the Link. I don't think the Raiders... I'm going to take the Eagles on the spread. I don't trust the Raiders. They're at home, but the Eagles are in a temperate location. They have an advantage in the sense that I think East Coast teams going to the West isn't as hard. They just played a home game. Raiders are coming from an away game to play an Eagles team that played the Bucs pretty hard. And maybe if Sirianni's worth his weight, he'll run the ball more and he'll recognize that worked against the Bucs, a much better team. Going with the Eagles, I'm taking the under. Because if the Eagles are winning on the road, it's a close one and it's low scoring.
Look at that.
They can't keep up with the shootout.
Thanks. So we're just gonna stay.
It's called solidifying your lead.
No matter what. Wow.
Called solidifying the lead. Okay, I think that does it for us on Eagles talk. Would you say?
Real quick. I just wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
Zach Ertz got traded this week.
How could we forget?
He took out a full page in the Inquirer. I thought it was a nice.
Ben
guy.
Simmons, take notes.
Take
That's
notes.
how you do it. You ready?
Yeah. And what do you think his headline would be?
Who, Ben Simmons?
Yeah, big old FU.
It's like
Inquirer.
I never loved you.
I never wanted to be here in the first place.
Yeah.
But Zach Ertz, I hope he comes back one day. I hope he comes to finish his career, or whatever. If it turns out that he's only in Arizona for a couple years, comes back to be an Eagle, I want him to break that reception record. I want him to break Carmichael's receptions. So excuse me, I've been taking Mucinex. I feel so. Jimmy, keep talking for 1 second. We really know that Tony is just so broken up about the Zach Ertz trade.
I love him. I'm going to say this. You ever wonder what it's like to be a professional, to be beloved? You want to know what it looks like when you're beloved in Philadelphia? Look no further than Zach Ertz.
Sure.
They had Dallas Goedert. he didn't complain.
Yeah.
He played, he showed up, he wanted to win. Teammates with every guy, has played with 3 different quarterbacks, played hard every game. Never have an issue with Zach Ertz. Very few times has he ever dropped the ball. And the only time I really think it was that detrimental, I don't even think this was him. I thought it was Alshon Jeffrey, the one against the Bears. No, not against the Bears.
Against the Saints.
And it went through his hands.
That was Alshon, yeah.
That was Alshon. That wasn't even Ertz.
Yeah.
So, consummate professional, won a championship here, was critical.
Mm-hmm.
Was the reason why we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because of the
final touchdown.
The Foles, Ertz, final touchdown, but the connection, because Wentz wouldn't, Foles would use Alshon a lot more, but it just helped spread the field. He was just a consummate professional, beloved by the fans. He gets traded away, says thank you. He will always be loved. Number 5 will always love you.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting.
But, the thing with Zach Ertz is, his play went down in the last couple of years, and people noticed it, and people would mention it, but I really don't think it was necessarily his fault. The play calls changed, and the offense got way worse. The running the ball just didn't happen. And when you don't run the ball, then you can't really throw to your receivers. And
think how much play action you can get off of a play action to the running back. And then you have this, what people don't realize is when you have the tight end lined up, and Jimmy's looking at my hands, but there's a seam that you run, especially cover 2, cover 3, mainly cover 2. There's a seam that the tight end runs and gets behind the corner, but in front of the safety. And if you do a play action, it works every time because the linebackers come in to the ball.
Yeah, so I think that his play, you're going to see with the Cardinals, because they're 6-0 and they have a competent offense.
They're going to get even better.
His play is going to be fine. He's going to look like the old Zach Ertz again, and you're going to wonder, oh, well, maybe there is something wrong here. Maybe the play calls are the issue.
Yeah.
And they really are. It's a mess when you actually see it live. When I saw it live, totally blew my mind about it. I knew it was bad, but it's really bad.
I bet. The TV covers, it's crazy. Basketball kind of looks the same.
Sure.
It's actually not that different. Football, on the other hand, totally agree. It's so different in person.
You can see all the players.
Yeah, you can see what route they're running. You actually can tell where the quarterback's looking, because when you watch on television, they're just focused, the quarterback's holding the ball in his hand, and then you see the ball flying across the screen.
Yeah.
You don't actually see them breaking away from defenders. Are they playing that play really hard? Are they just not an option?
Right, yeah. Totally different.
So, and I think it was the right move. I think that's my final point on the Ertz situation, is the fact that we're not that good. We have a redundancy at the position. It's okay to trade him, get a piece back. He'll always be loved. And good organizations know when to make those moves when they have redundancies. Patriots got rid of what's-his-face at the right time. So that's my take.
Okay, yeah.
Garoppolo. I was talking about when Garoppolo and...
Right. Yep. Yeah, you're right. And he hasn't really flourished at all.
Yeah.
With the 49ers.
And I'm not saying that will happen with Ertz, but it's just, we have a backup. Goddard's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, Goddard's really good, I think.
So we're keeping him. And we have a receiving core that, honestly, I couldn't complain about. I think the receiving core it's just Jim, I don't know if you agree with me, but personally, when I watch a team, I feel like the receiving core is much more improved. Rager looks better.
Yeah.
Especially having him in the slot.
Quez. You got Quez Watkins.
Yeah. Smith looks as advertised. So.
Yeah, he does look really good, and he is fast.
Yeah.
So I can't complain. Every year they're just gonna get a little bit better for the next 5 years. So
we don't have to draft wide receivers anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, and if we do, they're in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. We need to focus on. A lot of these Eagles issues go back to drafting guys who are wide receivers and then not filling any other position. We need more corners.
Right.
Come on. And that's what the trade got us.
Yep, got us a corner and a pick, I believe.
Yep. Jim, let's go to the final topic. I want to end the show a little bit early so we can get going to watch the Sixers, because it starts at 8.
Of course.
And this is a Sixers pregame show. Give us your Phillies update, and then we'll close out.
So they hired a new director of player development, so they want to build up the farm, obviously. My take on this is that I don't really think it's going to help much. And if it does, it's not going to be for a while. It's going to be 5 years down the road. The past few years, they've hired new pitching coaches, and what have we seen from the pitching? We got Zach Wheeler, so that was an external addition. Nola's gone downhill. Ranger Suarez is the only one that showed anything this year, and we got 2 months of him. So everybody else, fine, but nobody's really improved. We've gotten new hitting coaches, And guess what? The only person that really hit better was Bryce Harper, and he was, MVP level player. So those hires didn't change much, and I don't really think that this new director of player development is going to change much either, but who knows? I could be proven wrong. I just think that the problem with all of these teams in Philadelphia is the owner
Say it.
or general manager.
Yep.
And they all make the wrong decisions.
Yep.
So it's not going to be this new director of player development. It's not going to change anything. It's going to come from the top. They got to change the people at the top, and then everything else will change.
I mean, Jim, we've yelled about this till our faces were purple. Sixers. We didn't draft the right players. Oh, we're going to get LeBron James. We didn't get LeBron James. Let's buy up contracts so we fill out the roster because we can't get any free agents. Oh, let's care about what this guy thinks because we don't want to hurt free agency, but no free agents come here anyway, and so then we're stuck with all these players that we poorly bought instead of trading for them because we were too scared to trade for them because we didn't want to lose out on deals. And then we don't draft anyone because we gave up our picks to make for trades for guys who didn't want to be there, so then we're stuck in this rut, and now we can't trade for anyone, and we're stuck with Joel Embiid. Oh, we just spent 10 years with the Phillies trying to make them better. Oh, we're going to, farm systems not getting improved. We're not getting improved there. We're watching, I couldn't even name half the terrible players that we have had to watch over the last 10 years. Oh, we're going to buy players. We got Bryce Harper. We're a serious team, but we're not going to backfill it with anyone else because we were too busy scouring free agency for these guys and not investing in our farm league that has just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And we're not going to do anything about that, but we're going to keep paying these other guys to play for us. And we're not going to have any prospects come down the line. And now we're stuck with no prospects and players who are on big contracts, and they want to win now, but the incentive's not to. So let's blow it up and try it all over again. The only one that you can actually do all this with is football. Is the only one that it works where you don't have to wait around.
Right. And we're not really too.
I was thinking about
football
Dom.
Right now.
Frank text Dom Brown, LOL. That was exactly who I was thinking of, but I was afraid to say because I didn't know if I was going to get it right. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's going to hit 20 home runs this year. He's on pace. Oh, he's a real star. It's like, no. Thank you, Frank. You're totally right. I'm out of breath, Jim. Let's close up the show.
Yeah, I'll give the Sixers starting lineup in case you didn't see it.
Give it.
It is Tyrese Maxey, then you got Curry and Tobias Harris, Danny Green, and Joel Embiid.
I'm thinking a win.
I think they can win with that starting lineup.
I think they're going to
win. I'm a little worried about the bench. I feel like last year we felt so solid about our bench, and I'm kind of worried now.
Man, don't look for Shake Milton out there.
Yeah, do not.
Okay, Jim, let's lock it down. For those who joined us tonight, really appreciate it. We got a lot of chat in the chat, if that makes sense. Hold on, I got to burp. That last rant really made me gassy. So for those of you listening on YouTube, we really do appreciate it. Please make sure to subscribe if this is your first time here. Just hit subscribe and double-click the notification bell. That way you get notified every time we go live. On top of that, email the mailbag, tonystakes.1851@gmail.com. That's tonystakes.1851@gmail.com. Or direct message us as Pete did today with a question at our Twitter account at @Tonys_takes. Pete sent us the question. It was an excellent one. I went on a nice little St. Joe's talk. We'll be accepting those types of questions or any question that you have all year long. So mailbag, tonystakes.1851@gmail.com. Direct message on our Twitter account at @Tonys_takes. And of course, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts now, please make sure to leave a 5-star written review. We'll read it on the show. Jimmy, Meg says, Sixers. I'm feeling the same way. Thanks for being on the show and previewing the 76ers 2021-22 season.
10-9-8. Let's go.
Jimmy's going to watch it and then get on his flight out of the country.
Yeah, I'm going to be sitting in the sand while the Eagles lose to the Raiders. Not just kidding. The Eagles are going to win.
Yeah, when the Eagles win. Clap your hands, everybody, for Philadelphia. Thanks for listening to this episode of Tony's Takes. Appreciate everyone tuning into tonight's episode. We look forward to seeing everyone next week, probably on Thursday. This has been Tony's Takes.
The premier sports talk radio, it's Tony's Takes.
Here we go.